So Shukra summons Yayati and confronts him about what happened. Yayati tries to defend his actions. He tells him that Sharmista pleaded him for children and so he could not refuse her. Shukracharya is not buying any of that. He was not about to let Yayati go easily because of all the betrayal and lies. So he curses Yayati. According to it, Yayati would immediately lose his youth and turn into an old man. Yayati isn't ready to accept the curse. He isn't ready to let go of his youth. There's so much to do and so many pleasures to be had when one was young. And he wasn't ready to give up this lifestyle yet. He pleads with Shukracharya for mercy. He tells Shukracharya that he wants to spend more time with Devayani. Eventually, Shukracharya relents. But as we've spoken about in this podcast, you cannot cancel a curse. So Shukracharya suggests a workaround. So he says he'll allow Yayati to transfer the curse of the old age to someone else. So basically, Yayati had to find another person who would willingly take on the curse of old age in Yayati's stead. Yayati realizes that this is the best he can get. But he makes another deal with his father in law. He asks to be granted a boon that whichever son of his agrees to take on the curse of old age would be made the heir to the throne and he would rule successfully. Shukracharya agrees. Determined to hold on to his precious youth, Yayati approaches his sons, both from Devayani and Sharmishta. My old age for your youth, he says. His two sons from Devayani, Yadu and Turuvasu, and his first two sons from Sharmishta, Druhyu and Anu, refuse their father's request. They complain about the difficulties one faces in old age, the dulling of senses due to old age. Yayati does not take kindly to being turned down. He believes that the burden of fulfilling a father's wishes and desires falls on his son, a belief still prominent amongst the majority in our culture. And as you can see, a belief that goes back thousands of years. He curses all of his sons, saying that their lineages, and the people they rule would experience suffering.
That's quite harsh.
Yes, and all but one son of his gets cursed by Yayati. His youngest son by Sharmishta, Kuru, agrees to exchange his youth for his father's old age. Yayati is happy. He tells Puru that he would give him his youth back after 1000 years. Yayati also promises Puru the throne. With his youth back, Yayati lives his life to the fullest for the next 1000 years. Even as he is living life the way he liked and wanted, he was still acutely aware of the passing time. His time of living as a young man would come to an end soon, and Yayati struggled with the fact that he had to embrace old age. A struggle every man and woman would have to face should they be lucky to live that long. It was true then, and it is true now. Nevertheless, when the 1000 years had passed and the time came for him to give Puru back his youth, Yayati does so gracefully. He thanks Puru for the wonderful gift he had bestowed upon him, and he praises Puru for his unselfish act. As promised, Yayati names Puru as his heir, and this causes an uproar all over the kingdom. How can the king pass over his older sons? Everyone asks. Yayati quite passionately defends his decision, but what earns him his people's acceptance was the fact that Shukracharya was the one who granted him the boon that the son who would accept the curse would inherit the throne. So Puru was made king. As for Yayati's other sons, they inherited smaller tribes. Puru's descendants successfully ruled the kingdom after him, and they are called Pauravas. Similarly, Yadu's descendants are called Yadavas, and the most famous Yadava has to be Lord Krishna. Turvasa's descendants are called Yavanas, Druhyu's descendants are called Bhojas, and Anu's descendants are called Mlechas. All of the group who would, generations later, fight each other in the Kurukshetra war. After instating his beloved son Puru on the throne, the old king Yayati goes to the forest to live a life of an ascetic, where he lives a simple and rigid life spent in contemplation, and he lives only on fruits and roots he would find in the area. He lived like this till he reached the end of his life and finally entered heaven. His entry into heaven was said to be because of all the various good deeds he performed when he was alive. He ruled as a good king. He took care of his subjects and he protected them. Most of all, he was blessed due to his part in the establishment of the Puru lineage.